Good
Yes.
afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the second podcast on business networking with Vipul Bondal. Today, I have a very dear friend and expert on project management with me today. It's my absolute privilege to welcome Abhijit Pradhan. He is in the business of project management. And if there is one person who understands project management very well, it is Abhijit. He
Thank you.
has close to four decades of experience in this area. He's worked with very prominent organizations, and he's been in the IT sector. Incidentally, he's a certified project and SAP professional. He's held senior positions in companies like Tata's and Mahindras, and has, to his credit, being part of over 50 projects globally in India, US, UK, Singapore, Malaysia, and Vietnam. And currently, as the founder and CEO of Big Bang Consultancy, he is an advisor to large, medium, and small corporates. He is also a certified trainer in project management. Uh, and if there is one person who understands projects extremely well, it is Abhijit. So, without further ado, uh, I would like to start this conversation. Welcome to this podcast, Abhijit.
Yeah, thank you, Vipul, for the kind introduction. And more than anything, we are very good friends for very long time, and we have very good rapport with each other. And thanks for inviting me on this show. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So, when I put this creative first saying project management approach, I had a lot of people who asked me what this means. So let's do one thing. Let's demystify, as they say, project management to begin with, and then let's talk about project management approach. So, what
Sure.
is project management, Abhijit, for common people to understand?
Okay, Vipul, let me answer to this question in two ways.
Yeah,
First is about what is project, and then what is project management. Okay, project is as per the definition, it is a time-bound journey, and to achieve something unique, which is can be a product, service, or is a result. When I say product, means if you're somebody's, let us say, launching a new car, it's a product. Services like in a code of any IT company can be considered as a, or software can be considered as a service. And third is like a result, like somebody is appearing for the examination, then it's a pass or fail, or election is a result, right? So all are time bound. So that is called the project. So project and journey, any journey has a lot of similarities. And in the during next conversation, I will give few examples. And now let us go back to the next part is a project management. Okay, now project management, most of the people feel that, project management means a Gantt chart, or project management
that's right.
means managing the resources. But surprisingly, the answer to this question is very different. You will also surprise that what is project management? It is the application of four things. It is okay. It is application of knowledge, skill, tools, and techniques. Okay, when four things are combined to achieve the result, then it is called as a project management. Now, if you see first two things like knowledge and skills, normally anyone who is, let us say, if somebody is into a construction sector, the person can be having a knowledge of construction, or knowledge of civil engineering, or could be accounting or something. Everybody has its own domain. And
That's
over
right.
a period of time, a person, in addition to the education, acquires some a skill. Okay, so that two things are normally there. But what is important is the application of tools and techniques. Okay, which are most of the times which are not systematically applied. But let me complete the answer. It is when it's the application of four things, then it is called as a project management.
Okay. So, knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques taken
Techniques.
together and when implemented together to
Yes.
achieve a defined result is
Yes.
project management. Is
Yes.
that right? Okay.
Correct. Correct.
So, typically, what are the various tools and techniques that you can implement in project management?
Okay, so tools and techniques. Now, let me say, if I have to consider tools for the project management, okay, then we can say like IT tools like ERP or SAP or Tally. All these are sort of tools or something very important in project management. There are softwares called the Microsoft Project, Primavera, or these are very scheduling tools. So these are the typical different tools. Even whiteboard itself is can be also considered, or Excel can be considered as a tool, or anything. Many most of the digital nowadays, tools whatever we are using, those are tools. What is important and what most of the time things which are missing are techniques part. Okay, and techniques actually makes or breaks the any project. Now let me give few examples of techniques. Techniques
Right.
examples are like critical path analysis in project management is very important, or risk management analysis is very important, or techniques like Pareto analysis or Six Sigma principles, or Kaizen. All these are techniques which actually makes or breaks. So in combination of everything, tools and techniques, if together, if we can apply, then actually makes the huge difference in attaining the goal, like timely completion, cost reduction, or anything. That is the overall the examples I can say.
Okay. So depending on what the particular project is,
Hmm.
the tools and techniques can be utilized. So these would obviously vary from what the project is all about, right?
Yeah, so
So
let
that,
me give some examples here, Vipul. Let
yeah,
us say when I say project time bound targets, okay, the few the best examples I can share time bound examples are one day cricket match is also a project,
right.
because first inning is setting some targets and second team is achieving that. If
That's
they
right.
are able to achieve the target, then it's a winning or losing the match.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
second is a war is the best example. Kargil War. There is
Right.
the complete. Now, let me tell you the very important aspects of project management. And there are five stages of the project in any project, irrespective whether it's IT or manufacturing or anything. So there are five stages of the projects called the initiating, planning, monitoring and control, executing, and closing. These are the five stages of the project, and it's applicable to each and every thing. Like in one day cricket match, you have to plan the strategies. That is the planning part.
Right.
Okay. And then when you say monitoring and control, the we are always watching the score. What is the existing score, what they need to do. That is called monitoring and controlling. To
Correct.
achieve the target. And executing means actually playing the match is executing. And finally, when the match is closed, then there's a closing ceremony and then awards and everything. That is also a part of that entire event. That is
Right.
how this is typically called is a project.
Right. So, when we were discussing for this topic, I remember you used the word project management approach. And you said that, if we have a project management approach, we can typically employ it to any area of business. And, what particularly interested me is that you said we can achieve business targets if
Right.
we have a project management approach to virtually anything that we can do.
Uh,
So, can you define that a little bit so that we can understand this better?
Right. So now, as I earlier mentioned, project is anything which is time bound, is a project. Now, if you say in business, we always have targets like achieving certain targets, certain turnover, or certain profitability, or cost reduction, or acquiring certain number of clients, acquiring certain revenue.
Hmm.
All these are time bound targets. Okay,
Right.
or sometime tangible targets such as expanding a particular project, office expansion, new office setup, okay, or in setting a complete new setup plan, or coming launching a new R&D or no
Right.
product. All these are time bound targets. Now, what you need, as I mentioned, you need a planning, monitoring and control, and execution. Okay, these three things. Now, if you let us take the example of, let us say, if somebody wants to achieve particular target, or
Right.
turnover of a yearly target. So what they typically do, they set up the revenue target for the year, which is a plan. Okay. And then they when let us say everybody, we are at the fag end of the financial year, and now most of the companies, they are setting the target for the upcoming financial new year. So
Right.
what they do a revenue target, sales target, expense target, budgets, and everything. And now once the April will start, every month they are monitoring the targets. Okay, and now while doing that, so monitoring and control, which is the one of the important aspect of the project management, comes here.
Right.
And if they are, let us say, if the target of particular month is, let us say, achieving a 10 crore target or 100 crores of target, if they are falling short of that, what they do, they try to, at the last 10 days, they ask sales team to increase the marketing efforts, or they come out with the extensive reviews and all that to achieve that target.
That's right. That's right.
Now that is what is, the business targets. And to achieve that, lot of tools and techniques of project management can be, applied. That is the
Right.
beauty.
Okay. So that is what you mean by project management approach. So you used four words here, which particularly interested me. And since, like you, I am also a cricket fan. Planning, monitoring, control, and execution are four words you used. So,
Yeah.
if you're chasing, let's say, a target in a 50 over match, you typically go about it saying this is the way we will go about. And we
Right.
also get the analysis on television, saying that,
Right.
if you go by this run rate, you'll probably reach that target at, by this over or so and so.
Right.
So, what you said almost seemed similar. You
Right.
need to achieve a particular sales target, and, you want to make sure that you achieve a certain target by a certain date. And if you don't reach that, then you have some contingencies built to make sure that you do a few more things in the next few days or weeks, and therefore then you end up achieving whatever target you set out. Would that in a nutshell sound, or am I making it too simple?
No, you are right, Vipul. Let me add something, something more into that. Like,
Sure.
let's say, what are the tools and techniques? As I mentioned, application of four things,
Right.
knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques. So, typically, management team, which is, comprising of CEO, CFO, CTO, and all those people,
Right.
they already have some domain knowledge of that industry. They already have a knowledge, so we will not talk about that. Coming
Right.
back to, tools and techniques. Tools, what are the tools? Like, they have MIS dashboards, they have tools like ERP systems, they have some CRM systems, sales systems, even including as simple as Tally. All those
Right.
are tools which are they are using for, monitoring the progress of
Right.
their revenue target, or, expenses target, and so on. But they can also use some of the techniques of project management. For
Hmm.
example, there is interesting technique called as a risk analysis. Okay, risk
Okay.
management technique. Now, risk management, what can go wrong? They can always come back to plan A and plan B. That is
Right.
a part of the project management. Or
Correct.
they can always focus on the critical path. Like, critical path is the area where out of thousands of activities, just focus on just few hundred activities, and then just focus. And once if you try to achieve that, most of the time the results are possible. Or let us say Pareto analysis, called the 20/80 principle.
Right.
Focus only on the 20% topmost things, and you can get 80% of the result.
80%.
Yeah, so all those are the, examples of which techniques, which in addition to the available tools, you if you can use it systematically. Or I will give a simple example of huddle. In the T20,
Right.
teams are coming as a huddle. It's a technique. Okay.
Ah,
Similarly, you can do a stand-up meeting at the start of the day. That's a very good practice I have observed in Mahindra and Mahindra. Every day, every department is doing a stand-up meeting,
stand
10
up.
minute stand-up meeting. And that is a technique to achieve any
Right.
target.
Okay. Okay. Fantastic. Because, now that you're giving it with examples like these, it's coming to mind how otherwise, I was a little worried that, project management, matlab, you're going to have these thousands of charts and you need to keep looking at it all the time. So you
Right.
made it very simple by actually saying that some of these things can be done. So, one question which will come definitely is, it's good for people like Mahindras or Tatas, where you have many people doing many roles.
Yeah.
If you look at small business people or small business owners, or people with, let's say, a very small team,
Mhm.
where typically one person is doing multiple roles.
Mhm.
How does a company like that implement a project management approach? Is it possible, or do you have to reach a certain size before you can think of taking this approach?
No, Vipul, anyone can do it. Even a single person also, single entrepreneur, single team member can also apply, the techniques of project management. So, in fact,
Right,
many times we say project management is a way of life, like yoga is a way of life. Okay. So, similarly, it's a way of life. Uh, so, if you apply those techniques, let me give you a day-to-day life example. Let's if somebody wants to reduce their weight from X to Y.
right.
Actually, you can use the project management technique. Okay,
Okay,
you can use all the planning technique. Dietitian, dietitian is giving you some techniques to control your weight.
right,
Exercise is use some gym and so on.
right,
Similarly, in business also, let us say if somebody is a single entrepreneur. So
right,
what they can do is that they can simply doing a good amount of planning
right.
and monitoring that using some simple techniques like monitoring at every frequency every week, and then using again 20-80 principle. Pareto is a very powerful technique which can be used
That's right.
anywhere. Okay,
That's right.
so focus only on those 20%, identify 20% of those things, focus on that and achieve that.
Okay,
Anyone can do that. I mean, and you can actually develop that habit within your team members, uh,
right,
by which, as a team, small team, maybe small team of 2 people, 10 people, or 50 people, or 100 people, you can achieve that. Once that, you know that how to achieve it, it is very simple. It can be done.
okay. So, one thing that definitely will be followed up, if somebody is asking you this question, does it require a lot of changes to be made to the organization structure, or can it be implemented, let's say, within 1 month or 2 months in the organization?
No, no, it can be. You don't require any changes in the existing this one. Only thing you need to bring some kind of discipline
All right,
in the way that you are operating. Okay,
right,
let's say reviews, which are commonly missed out by many entrepreneurs. It is simple thing. You have to do a simple review every day at the start of the day, end of the day, and it's a project management technique. We always follow that. Now,
right,
just follow that technique and you don't, but that's a discipline. I mean, every day you as a team come together, discuss informally while, taking a tea, a cup of
right.
tea together, and then disperse. I
Okay.
mean, as
So,
simple as.
for example, if you don't do stand-up meetings, maybe you recommend a 5 to 10 minute stand-up meeting in every department where they
That's simple.
quickly
Yes.
meet over a cup of coffee, say,
Uh,
we have to do these things and this is how we are going to go about it. And
Yeah.
then as you go along, okay, fantastic. Uh, Also, I had another question, Abhijit, is, let's say, somebody wants to make a complete shift from the way they are working to make it, as companies grow, a lot of companies are growing today
Mhm.
and they're growing multifold,
Right.
they start out when the entrepreneur is doing everything, then they start getting people in various roles, and somebody was to think of implementing this project management approach to various projects where various departments, products, teams come together to work. Do you have any formal training for such people? I mean, some sort of a certification process or some sort of a formal training whereby they can professionally employ this in their organization?
Yeah, we are conducting such programs.
Okay,
So few programs, we have standard programs, and
right,
few programs are customized as per the need of the organization.
okay,
Say, for example, we have 1 day program only for the creating the awareness about the project, various tools and techniques. So
right,
what we call is the fundamentals of project management.
correct,
Then there is a program on the risk management, how to do a risk management in project management. Then there is a
right,
stakeholder expectation management, and using based on this your stakeholders, how you can stakeholder expectation management, and then the communication built as per those stakeholder expectations. So these are some of the programs which we commonly give. Then there are some certification like PMP certification, Agile certification.
Okay.
Okay, so those are the available in the market.
Okay.
So those are there, and of course, then there are some programs on the tools like Microsoft Project, Primavera, because these are some important tools of project management. So such programs we are conducting, and then there are some purely customized programs. Let us say Six Sigma approach, Kaizen approach, and so on. So
Okay.
that we also do to what is called the area of improvements.
Areas of improvement.
Yes.
Okay. So there are a few questions on the group, Abhijit, as we go. So let me take a couple of questions which are related, and
Right.
then we'll, attempt to take all the other questions.
Yeah.
So there's a very interesting question from Samir.
Okay.
He says, how can businesses balance the need for agility and innovation
Uh-huh.
with the need for structure and control in
Mm.
project management? So, how does one balance agility and innovation with the need for structure and control? And another related question is from Alia. She
Mhm.
says, how do you typically handle unexpected changes or disruptions to project timelines and scope? So, these are more or less similar questions in nature. So, I'll just allow you to
Okay.
elaborate on that.
Yeah, so let me give you example from like thanks for those questions, and those are very I mean the apt questions that I think they have asked me.
Right.
So in project management there are two approaches. Okay, one is called the waterfall approach and one is called agile approach. Okay. Now, what is waterfall approach is that let us say at the start of the year when you're setting the yearly target. Okay,
Right.
then you are setting that okay, this is my waterfall. I want to go in this way. Okay.
Right.
In April, now March, we are setting for the entire year. But
Definitely.
as you know, the world is changing so fast, and there are so many changes which are happening. Maybe because of war or
Correct.
COVID, or so many things are happening that we actually, to be honest, our horizon is very limited to maybe a 3 months or so. Now,
Right.
in case you cannot have that waterfall, like you cannot say that I will be rigidly doing only and only this.
Right.
So there you need a agile approach, okay, where you need to focus on the first 3 months, see that how the things are working, and then based on the situation in the market, and if you're, let us say, if you're not able to achieve a particular target, a quarterly target, then you
Right.
need to come back with some kind of a innovation, some changes in your business model to twist it, to tweak it, and then get those results. There,
Okay.
those very important techniques, like one of the technique which we often used in project management is called as a brainstorming technique by Dr. Juran. Okay, this technique I was taught when I was in Voltas, Tata Group companies.
Right.
Extensively trained on that, and we applied this technique extensively to solve many questions. The areas, and in project management we are using that. So such kind of techniques you can use it so to address the ever changing situation. So coming back to the question, even though you have to be a structured, like you have to achieve a structured certain goals on a long term goal, there has to be agility to overcome that with by applying some tools and of course different techniques to get those results, desired results.
Perfect. So Anand Sharma has one question.
Yeah.
He asks, what are the benefits of conducting regular reviews and evaluations of project performance in
Mhm.
relation to business goals?
Yes, in fact, perfect question, because in project management, the highest importance is given to the communication. Okay, the best way is communication. If there is no communication or low communication, project is bound to fail. Now, same thing happens, in, like as I said, in business also we have a annual target, yearly target, monthly target, quarterly targets, and those targets. When you have those targets, it is very important that team members are all the time communicated. More than team members, stakeholders. The word is stakeholders, where you can have your customers, your suppliers, your team members. Everybody should be communicated frequently about what we are doing, what things are going in our favor, going against us, what management is trying to do. So typically those town hall meetings or weekly meetings, monthly meetings, whichever the company whoever they are into those kind of practices, normally you can see those companies are performing much better than the companies which are not following that. So
Okay.
it's extremely important.
Great. So a related question, I think I'll ask it because it's somebody's taken the time to ask this question. So one with that, and also maybe if there is any slight difference. So this question is asked by Vinita. Her question is: it can be tough to keep everyone accountable. What's your secret to making sure that everyone is pulling their weight and feeling responsible for the project success? So how does one do that? Are there any techniques or tools that you recommend for
Yeah.
keeping everybody accountable?
So there is one technique called as there is a technique called the stakeholder matrix. Okay, so we spend almost 3 to 4 hours when in our training programs to explain and do a lot of exercises based on that. In short, I mean, I will explain that. So we are identifying four types of stakeholders. Okay, based on their interest and the importance of that stakeholders. For example, CEO may be interested, has some different need, whereas somebody, a junior person or somebody who's serving a tea, they have a different need. But
Yeah.
everybody has certain expectations. Okay. And how you will ensure that team members are working by giving them some kind of a motivation to them. Okay. Now motivation can vary from person to person. For a simple like somebody like somebody who's serving tea or somebody who's serving in canteen, his needs are that he should get salary on time or sometime some kind of appreciation. That is enough for him to that person. Whereas somebody a young guy who has just joined and just married, maybe the needs are that he should get regular increments and then some kind
Correct.
of appreciation, incentives, and all that. So if we consider the right kind of the motivation for the team members, Maslow's law is the best way to address that. And
Right.
using that, actually, we can do a lot of things to progress as far as the team member, because everything is team member finally. If team is
Fine.
not performing, nothing will work.
Correct. 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 Thank you. So, two other questions which have been asked on the group, which was also part of the list of questions that I had drafted to
Yes,
ask you. So
sure.
let me ask them here, and in no particular order. You can reply it the way you would like to. So one is asked by Deepa Joshi. Her
Mhm.
question is: what are the common pitfalls to avoid in project management that could hinder business goal attainment? So what are the common pitfalls that one can avoid? And the other question is from Joel. He asks, what advice would you give someone who's just starting his or her career in project management?
Okay, so first question is that what are the pitfalls you should avoid?
Correct.
Is that some of the pitfalls like not doing proper planning
Right.
uh, is the biggest pitfall. Like one should always ensure that there is a plan. One should always ensure there is a fallback plan, like typically what we call is a risk management. Okay, so when you are trying to achieve one part to another, it's because it's a journey.
Correct.
So you have to ensure that what things can go wrong. Okay,
Right.
and plan. So good plan, monitoring that plan, and then finally risk management and communication management. These are the four things. I mean, if you can try to, so instead of saying what pitfalls, I will say focus only on these things, you will get the results. And
Okay.
then
Great. Great.
second question you asked me about, what should the career for the project management.
That's right.
Okay, so career, project management has a very high potential to grow because, especially if you see in India, our GDP is growing fast and we are always growing very fast. So
That's right.
more and more projects are launching in the market, and then they need a lot of project managers. So it's a good career. Everybody should think, many people can think about that. But more than any, you should have some kind of exposure to project management training and project management tools
Right.
before you start your career. That is very important.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much for answering that. There's a question from Meera Chavan, which is slightly different from. Can you explain how breaking down the tasks into manageable components contributes to achieving business goals?
Yeah, in fact, when you decide a particular target, and then the first thing is that you have to break down those into manageable components. In project management parlance, we call it the work breakdown structure. Okay, those are nothing but packages, finance package, or maybe purchase packages or HR packages. These are the very important packages in any organization or technology nowadays. Now, if you see, those are the packages, and on a journey to achieve a particular, how you want to use those and then break down. So what you can do is, let us say, typically HR. Now, if what you want to achieve, I want to expand the team, then which are the areas you want to focus, where which people you want to hire, what kind of competencies you want to do. So you can break down those, set it on a calendar, and then achieve. Because otherwise, what happens if there is no timeline? People बोलते रहेंगे, मुझे मंडे करना है. What is Monday? You have to have a date. Okay, otherwise
Right.
Monday, no meaning. और 4 दिन में करना है. 4 दिन means what? Including a weekend or not? So it has to be a very, the SMART goal is very important.
So SMART goals is the parameter on the basis of which you break down your
Yes.
achievable targets into smaller targets, and when you achieve that entire series of results, you end up at your goal. Like, again, using the one day international example, I mean, once you set targets for achieving a certain target by 15 overs, 20 overs, and so on. Now, very interestingly, in cricket, like in life and in business, there is always something unexpected. So there's a very beautiful question. Alia has asked this question. How would you typically handle unexpected changes or disruptions to project timelines and scope? It's like if somebody bowls you a googly or bowls a maiden over, then how does, project management approach help in adjusting and reaching that target eventually?
Yeah, it's a good question, and let me tell you that none of the project goes exactly as per the plan. Very similar to cricket T20 or one day cricket match. Even though target is let us say 8 per over, often it is not achieved till end of the 10th, or it is just target of 6 or 4, and there is a pressure on the last 10 overs and so on. So similarly in business also, it frequently talks us that you are slipping on the target and everything. So there are 2 3 things which are very helpful to you, is that there are techniques to achieve that. So to crunch the timeline, let us say it's a crunch line, there are some techniques involved. Okay, like crashing is a technique, or forwarding is a technique. So there are techniques available,
Right.
to achieve that, or focusing on the critical path. Okay, so there are some techniques. So critical chain is one of the very modern technique nowadays. Many companies are using. So those techniques actually can be applied on a timeline to achieve a particular goal. But slippage and then hurdles, those are very common, and you have to expect it as a part of your risk management.
So, I was actually hoping that you'll make it simpler, but as we are discussing, it's beginning to look a little more complicated than I thought it was. So I have, there's one question from Aisha, which I'll post to you right now. So Aisha
Okay.
asks, what resources would you recommend to someone who would want to learn more about effective project management? So are there any training programs or, something that, let's say, students or, young entrepreneurs would, you would recommend them? They may not be ready yet to, let's say, implement it totally, but are there specific training programs or books or something that you would recommend to people who are inspired by what you just said and want to,
Okay, so one
go
popular
ahead?
training program I can say is PMP, Project Management Professional Certification Program, which is extremely popular across the world. Almost 189 countries are following that. But that program is applicable if somebody is having a more than 3 years of professional experience. But if somebody is having less than 3 years of professional experience, then there is an equivalent certification called as a CAPM, Certified Associate in Project Management. Okay, both are from Project Management Institute USA, a very popular certification, and it's a very one of the oldest and popular certification. You can gain a lot of weightage if you apply and you get that certification. Very high demand internationally, nationally, with all MNCs and everything. Suddenly your value can go up substantially.
Right.
Another is if somebody is into IT sector, I would strongly recommend to do a agile certification, which is just 18 hours, 2 days of training program, which are available on various platforms. Also, you can apply and then get it. So those are the very popular programs. In addition to that, then there are some colleges who are specifically targeting project management, like NICMAR, okay, NEETI. All those are focusing mainly on the project management. Okay, so you can think about all those certifications.
Right. So, Abhijit, one of the main theme of this podcast is business networking.
Right.
How has business networking helped you in your business so far?
Yeah, thanks, Vipul. Vipul, as you know, I am a part of BNI, which is a very popular, organization. I'm part of this BNI Mumbai chapter,
Right.
BNI Genius, and for almost now more than 6 years. And I'm extremely happy because BNI has a very structured mechanism of how to do a networking. They give a lot of trainings, and I have got received a lot of business only like we also made through that chapter
That's right.
through that media only. So BNI, like network like BNIs are definitely recommended, because finally network is important for, as you typically in BNI says, if you have a good networks, you can increase your net worth.
Right.
Okay, so that is, I think I have experienced that, and I strongly recommend that networking is extremely important
Right.
for the businessman.
Great. Thank you, Abhijit. Finally, I have one request. Would
Mhm.
you be able to help me with your email ID and phone number? If you can announce that,
Yeah.
because if there are people who want to get in touch with you, I will also put it on the group once you've announced it. You can let
Okay,
us
so
know your.
my mobile number, my mail ID is abhijit.pradhan @bigbangconsultancy.com. That is my organization. Okay, bigbangconsultancy.com. And my mobile number is 98206 42847. So they can always contact. I am available on LinkedIn. You can always connect me through LinkedIn.
Okay. Thank you. What I will also do, folks, is I will put these numbers on Thinkly,
Okay.
Abhijit's email ID and phone number. I'll put it on Thinkly so that you can get in touch with Abhijit in case you have more queries. He also has a fantastic certification program, and I would definitely recommend that you do at least the refresher. I mean, the introduction course which he spoke about. It'll be extremely useful to you.
Yes, you can.
And yeah, so that that's all. Abhijit, do you have any specific recommendations of you know uh, any specific let's say, is it finance or marketing, any such, because typically I'm sure you get mainly project related people
Right.
approaching you, but do you think there are any specific other professions
I
you
think,
think who can benefit from project management training?
yeah, in project management, nowadays, everything is digital, and so something related to digital knowledge along with the project management is always helpful. So we normally call it a techno-functional knowledge is always helpful, not just functional, not just technical. Sometimes people are too technical but no knowledge of functional, too functional, no knowledge of technology. So techno-functional is a very
Okay.
important word. Remember, I strongly recommend it to all the youngsters. They should acquire the techno-functional skill, technical and functional, and that way they can grow very fast. So it could be any certification, but strongly recommended.
Thank you, Abhijit. Thank you very much for sparing the time. I'm extremely thankful, and on behalf of the Thinkly community, I wish you a great evening and a great day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Vipul, for inviting me on this platform. I'm extremely glad and extremely thankful to you. And I'm always glad, eager to come back once again. Thank you so
Sure.
much.
Sure. Thank you.